Ethan Carter never expected a stranger's trembling whisper to stop his entire world. But the morning she said those words, "You saved my life once," everything he thought he knew about kindness, second chances, and the quiet battles people fight in silence changed forever. The mornings that started it all. Every day at 7:10 a.m., Ethan walked the same cracked sidewalk toward Willow Creek Elementary with his 7-year-old daughter, Lily. Their mornings were a whirlwind of mismatched socks, tangled braids, and Lily's endless questions about dinosaurs. But without fail, at 7:15, they passed the same woman on the corner beside the old bus stop. A young woman with a long gray coat, her brown hair always pulled into a messy bun, her eyes fixed on the ground as though afraid to meet anyone's gaze. The first morning Ethan noticed her struggling. She was bent over, trying to gather papers the wind had scattered across the street. Before he realized what he was doing, he handed Lily his backpack and jogged forward. "Let me help," he said. She startled like a startled animal, almost dropping the rest of the documents. Her voice was barely audible. Thank you, thank you." He gathered the pages and handed them to her. She clutched them tightly, nodded once, and hurried onto the bus before he could ask if she was okay. The next day, she was there again, not struggling this time, but tense, shoulders drawn up as though bracing against the world. He gave a small wave. She offered a thin smile. By the third morning, he made a habit of saying, "Good morning. Hope today's kinder to you." She'd nod, but her eyes always looked like she hadn't slept. Lily, curious as ever, tugged on his sleeve. "Daddy, why is that lady always sad?" Ethan answered gently, "Sometimes grown-ups go through things they don't talk about." Lily thought about that. Maybe she needs someone to talk to. He didn't know then how right she was. A single dad trying to hold everything together. Ethan wasn't a stranger to hard days himself. Becoming a single dad hadn't been in the original plan. His wife, Hannah, had died suddenly from an aneurysm when Lily was only 4. Overnight, he became both mom and dad, comforter and provider, the one who braided Lily's hair in the mornings and the one who learned to bake cupcakes at midnight because it was her kindergarten birthday and he wanted her to feel celebrated. He worked as a mechanic during the day and delivered groceries in the evenings when money got tight. There were nights he lay awake worrying whether he was enough for Lily, enough stability, enough support, enough love. But she always reminded him of Hannah with her fierce spirit and soft heart. And it was Lily who insisted they start making kindness stops on their walks, helping the neighbors pick up fallen branches, leaving chalk drawings on the sidewalk for others to enjoy. Maybe that's why he felt drawn to the quiet woman at the bus stop. Something about the heavy way she carried herself stirred that instinct in him. Kindness might be the only thing she's holding onto right now. The morning everything changed. 2 months passed with the same routine. Ethan helping her carry a box, offering her an umbrella when it rained, handing her a granola bar when she looked faint, or simply giving her a reassuring smile. Then one morning, she wasn't at the stop. Not the next day either. By the third day, he felt an unexpected worry tugging at him. Maybe she got better, Lily suggested. Maybe she smiled so big she floated away. But Ethan couldn't shake the unease. Then, on the 4th morning, she was back, but something was different. Her posture straighter, her coat replaced, and when she saw Ethan, she walked toward him with steady steps. "Good morning," he said. Relieved, she looked up at him with eyes that shimmered. "Can I talk to you for a minute?" Lily ran ahead, humming to herself, letting the adults have space. The woman clasped her shaking hands together. "I never told you my name. I'm Clara. It's nice to officially meet you, Clara." She swallowed hard. "You've been helping me every morning. You didn't have to. You don't know me. You don't know anything about my life." "I don't need to," Ethan replied. "Kindness doesn't need a reason." Her breath hitched. She looked away, then back at him. You saved my life once." Ethan froze. What do you mean?" The hidden story behind the corner. Clara took a long breath, steadying herself. "The first morning you helped me, the day my papers flew everywhere, I wasn't on my way to work like you probably assumed. I was going to the river." Her meaning hit him like a cold slap. "I had written my resignation letter, my will, everything," she whispered. "I wasn't planning to come back home." Ethan felt his stomach twist. "Clara, but then you ran after me," she continued. "You helped me pick up those papers, and you looked at me like I wasn't invisible." Like I mattered. Her voice cracked. And your daughter smiled at me like she saw something worth smiling at. Ethan swallowed the heavy rush of emotion building in his chest. That morning, Clara said, wiping tears, I decided I would give myself one more day. And then the next morning, when you said, hope today's kinder to you, it felt like a promise worth waiting for. Clara's tears spilled freely now. You didn't just help me with papers, Ethan. You helped me remember I'm still here. That I deserve to be. Ethan stepped closer, speaking softly. I'm glad you're still here, Clara. Truly. For the first time since he'd met her, she smiled, a real smile. The challenges that tested them both. After that morning, Clara's presence became more open. She told him about the emotionally abusive relationship she had escaped, the job she had lost, and the crushing loneliness that had nearly swallowed her whole. Ethan, in turn, confided pieces of his story, the nights he felt lost after Hannah's death, the struggles of raising Lily alone, and the guilt of sometimes feeling overwhelmed. Their shared vulnerability formed a quiet, unexpected bond. But life wasn't suddenly easy. Challenge 1. Clara's healing. She battled depression. Some mornings she could barely breathe under the weight of it. Ethan never pressured her. He simply showed up, a steady voice, a quiet presence, a reminder she wasn't alone. Challenge 2. Ethan's fear of opening up. He worried about letting anyone into Lily's life. He worried he might be too broken to deserve happiness again. But Clara never pushed, she simply listened, offering empathy without expectation. Challenge 3. The judgment of others. Small towns talk. When people noticed Ethan and Clara walking together, whispers spread. Some judged her past. Some judged him for moving on. But they learned to prioritize the opinions that mattered, their own and Lily's. Challenge 4. Balancing their own wounds. Two wounded people often fear leaning too heavily on each other. But they grew, slowly, learning that healing didn't mean being perfect, it meant showing up, again and again, despite imperfections. The moment it all came full circle. One rainy afternoon, months later, Ethan arrived at the school to pick Lily up, only to find Clara waiting with her. Lily was holding Clara's hand, smiling brightly. She helped me draw rainbows, Lily said. Clara said rain is like the sky crying happy tears. Clara shrugged shyly. I was early and saw her waiting alone. At that moment, seeing Clara holding Lily's small hand with warmth and gentleness, something in Ethan settled, as though the universe was quietly nodding. After they walked home, Ethan turned to Clara. Can I ask you something? He said. She looked up. Of course. He took a breath. You once said I saved your life. But I don't think you understand, you helped save mine too. Clara blinked in surprise. When Hannah died, Ethan said, voice thick, I thought all the happy chapters of my life were over. But every morning with you reminded me that hope doesn't always come in big moments. Sometimes it comes in quiet ones. Small steps. Kindness exchanged between strangers. Clara's lips trembled. Ethan. He smiled softly. We saved each other, without meaning to. She took his hand then, intertwining their fingers, her touch warm and steady. And for the first time in years, Ethan felt something gentle growing in the hollow places grief had carved out. Not replacement, not forgetting, just hope. The message that rose from their story. Months later, at that same street corner where everything began, Clara lifted Lily into her arms while the little girl giggled, clutching a paper airplane Ethan had folded. Ethan watched them, his heart full. Sometimes, the people who appear in our lives by accident are the ones we're meant to walk forward with. Sometimes the smallest act, a helping hand, a kind word, a smile on a gray morning, can rewrite the path someone thought was already decided. Clara once believed she had reached the end of her story. Ethan once believed he had already lived all the happiness life would allow him. They were both wrong. Kindness didn't just save a life. It rebuilt two of them. And it reminded everyone who heard their story of a universal truth. The world becomes gentler, more hopeful, and more beautiful every time we choose kindness, even when we think no one is watching.